What's up, humanity? Mike here with Truth Awakening, and I wanted to run something by you. So I see this narrative. Excuse me, I'm walking through the leaves right now. I see this narrative of people thinking they could be Jesus Christ, right? They are a Jesus Christ in the spiritual community. It's a narrative. What do you think about that? Do you think you could be a Jesus Christ? Well, I've always had a feeling. I'm about to lay it on you. I've always had a feeling that there's something more to life. There's something bigger. There's something more grand, but we can't see it. And so I've always been spiritual. At times I would consider myself a Catholic. At times I would consider myself a Christian. At times I would consider myself what is it called? Non-denomination or something like that. Christian. I don't keep up with that. I don't know what is. But I enjoy going to church because I like the communion. I like the unity, right? But I always felt like something was off. Something didn't sit true. And then what happened was I just started to be more honest with myself, right? That with religion, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I just told you I went to church. You can find great things in church, but there's something more, right? It felt yucky. It felt manipulative. It felt like there was certain narratives being sold that didn't really resonate with me, truly, deep within. And actually, my wife felt this way before I did. And then, I started to sit with it, and I always knew, but I wanted to go to church because I like that atmosphere, right? But because she's like, hey man, I don't want to go to church no more. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. If that's what you don't feel like you can do, excuse me. I'm holding this up, so trying to give the other arm a break real quick. So, I mean, if that doesn't resonate with you, I don't want to force you to or feel like you have to go to church. So I gave her that, and we did our own thing for years, and then I went. I'm gonna tell you the story. I'm gonna tell you my story of my conscious awakening. Okay? I, for the longest thought all is well. I almost had this arrogance of, oh, I know it all, or this is the way, and this and that. But I wasn't seeing the red flags. I was looking past the marker, and I always knew there was things right, but I just allowed it to be instead of really addressing things. And what I'm trying to get at is there's certain things that have been placed upon society that's manipulative, and it seems like there's deceit, obviously, right? And that's what I don't want to go down that road, because I think we can all agree to some level that things need to be changed. And I want to jump back on subject here, but I feel like I need to talk about this. We all know deep within that there's something more, and we all know deep within that there needs to be change. There needs to be a level playing field. And everything in our society is built somehow, some way to weigh us down or to divide us. If you don't believe that's so, then you're just not being honest with yourself. You need to start being honest with yourself and having good intentions. And this is where I'm getting to the point. Do you think you're Jesus Christ? Do you think that you are Christ incarnate? Like, oh, you walk on water? Oh, you can turn water into wine? I actually, that stuff resonates with me. I always felt like levitation or telepathy, moving things with your mind. When I would see that on movies, I would get so excited. I'd be like, yes, yeah, I have this feeling, this knowing. And can I do those things right now? No, I can't. One day will I? Possibly. I'm open to it. But that's not the point. We may in the future be able to access gifts the more we elevate our consciousness, but that's not the point. The point is that there's something more. There's this grand divinity that we can't see right now with our eyes, but it's always there. It's right here with us. So what I'm alluding to is that heaven on earth, it's already here, but it's reflected inward. You have to go inward. Do you have chaos or do you have unity? That you have to self-reflect. And I believe in time we will figure this out as a collective, as humanity. And there's probably going to be a bunch of Jesuses walking around, and there might be people casting a stone upon me going, oh, and turning off the video and just feeling so spiteful inside. Reflect upon that. Sit with it. Why? Why can't you accept your sovereignty? Why can't you know that there's no one above you and there's no one below you? In neutrality, we are all equal and divine in our own right. But we want to have division. Well, how do you have division? Because you have separation. And why do you have separation? Because you allow the ego to dictate your reality. The ego is self-serving, is selfish in nature. Nobody wants to hear that. Why? Because that means you have to take ownership of your own life. You are not the victim. You can dictate your reality by how you perceive. And what you perceive is what you believe. So be mindful of your beliefs, right? Because it will dictate your reality. And I'm not trying to sit here to preach to anybody. I'm just trying to shine a light. Please hear me out. I'm not trying to be judgmental. Not at all. I can speak about this because I used to be that. I'm talking about myself. I know because I've been there. And now I've been able to change my life. Now, I'm not saying I walk on water. I'm not saying that I could turn water into wine. But I'm open to it. And I know that Christ itself, that Christ light, that Christ consciousness, all it is being honest with yourself, becoming your true, authentic self. Because I feel it more and more every day. The more I'm honest, like truly honest, and I'm not trying to cover something up or try to suppress something, and I'm just being true, I began to heal. And the more you heal, the more you get right with yourself, the more you take care of the mind and body, then that's how you grow, that's how you expand. And that's why I created a nonprofit called Truth Awakening, because fundamentally and foundationally, what I present is that through truth, we can balance the mind, body, and soul by having absolute honesty and good intentions upon the mind and body. That means you're self-reflecting of what's going on in the mind and what's going on in the body. And over time, being able to heal certain aspects of your life, being able to improve certain aspects of your life, being flexible to be different. That's what I'm asking people to do, is before you cast a stone upon somebody, self-reflect and see, is that somebody you? Were you once that person? Put yourself in other people's shoes. And maybe you weren't. But was that not you possibly in another life? You think this is your only life? Really? Look at the children that come into this world and have amazing gifts and they've never been taught it. Where do you think that comes from? Something we can't see, something more, something divine. There's codes. There's this world we live in has mathematical equations that shows patterns in nature. Are you kidding me? It's by design. It's not a bunch of dirt came together and formed a planet, and then over billions of years we grew from being monkeys to human beings. Wake up. It's something bigger, something more grand, and we are in co-creation of each other. So when you look up at the stars and you see all the stars, maybe we were co-creation with them, right? because a divine spark of God is within each and every one of us. We are reflections of God. Even the bad and the good are both reflections of God. Why? Mike, you just said this can be heaven on earth. Well, it could be hell on earth. We dictate, we have free will. We live in a world that is represented by duality. And we're supposed to realize by self-reflecting upon the ego that we are not separate, we're actually one. Because I just said duality, right? So what is the other side of separation? Oneness. We're here to learn about oneness. When you come into a planet about duality of positives and negatives, you have to learn the gray areas, that life is nuanced, that there's in-betweens, and that's how you broaden your perspective. And when you broaden your perspective, you broaden your consciousness, and this is a conscious awakening. This is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that they don't teach you in school, folks. We have to wake up. We have to go inward, self-reflect, and then being able to accept certain things, and then moving on, allowing things to be healed inside, letting things go, and allowing new energy to come in, new positivity to come in. And that's how you are going to uplift and raise your frequency, your vibration. This is the real raising of your frequency and vibration. Is about having absolute honesty and good intentions in your life, and it will ripple throughout your entire being. Even those around you will feel it and be affected by it, and they will begin, and there's one or two things, folks. It's gonna piss people off, or it's going to awaken them. They're gonna double down, you're going to separate, or they're going to grow, and they're going to be able to look past their ego. That's all it is. If you're not in resonance anymore, then yeah, you're going to begin to separate. It takes two to tango. In a relationship, there's this toxic mentality that you're supposed to stay with somebody. Well, if they're doing their part and they're trying, absolutely, thick and thin, baby, let's go. But if they're not, and they're not looking at the bigger picture, then it's time to move on. It's time to figure out who you truly are as a person and allow that to blossom. Be your true authentic self. Be your divine self. Be your Christed self. I hope people know that there's a good possibility, and I'm not some religious historian by any means, but Jesus Christ was not Jesus's name. Christ was not his last name. It was a state of being. With the research that I've done, and I'm like, that makes sense, right? And so, I mean, his true name was Yeshua ben Joseph, most likely. I don't know. I didn't meet the man, but I feel him every day. I feel like he walks with me every day. And when you open up, and when you're true to yourself, you allow that energy to come in, that guidance, that peace, that knowing. You allow that energy to come in. So yeah, I think we're all a bunch of Jesuses right now, asleep or waking up. And so I challenge you, and I plead to you to let's wake up, man. Let's start getting right with ourselves. Let's start being true and authentic to ourselves and those around us. Please follow me. Please subscribe. Let's get this message out there. I love y'all. To all my brothers and sisters. That's all it is. Adios, amigos.